Most people just learn astrology, but they don't learn how to actually use it for their own good. They don't learn how to use it as a tool. They don't learn how to embody it, which is such a shame because I think astrology is meant to be embodied and be used in this way. So today I'm going to share how you can use astrology in your day-to-day life, in your daily life, which I think is very exciting. If you're new here, if you're new to the podcast, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. My name is Josie and I am an astrologer. I'm also a business coach and I love to help women to live their best lives. And I believe that you can have it all. So let's dive into this topic. This is obviously one of my favorite topics. I have been studying astrology for so many years. I accidentally started an astrology business because I was so into it and I didn't even know that was a possibility. So can you imagine how much I love astrology? And now years later, I help women really understand themselves, and go back to their roots, go back to their talents, and help them create their dream lives. I think when we first learn about astrology and get really passionate about it, we want to learn as much as we can. And we get all this information, what is your sun sign? What is your moon sign? What does this mean? What does Venus in my chart mean? What does the full moon mean? And I think we get so overwhelmed by so much information, we kind of get lost in the sauce, and that is such a shame. I think something that we have to keep in mind that astrology is not something you learn in a week. It is something, and that is why I love astrology. It is something that we can spend the rest of our lives with. It is something to nourish, it's kind of like a relationship, to be honest. It is really something to feel passionate about and to be curious about, because I'm going to be very honest, when I learned about astrology I was critical, and sometimes I still am, but because I've studied it with so much love and intensity, I know what works for me and I know what doesn't work for me, and I know the truth about astrology. And I think one thing that I always want to share with people is that I don't have to know everything when it comes to astrology. I just have to know what is good for my client. And that means that I am sharing all my knowledge and share what is going to be used for good. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of false information. I think there's a lot of fear mongering when it comes to astrology. We have to use astrology in a grounded way that can support us. And I think that is the most important thing. And I think that is what most professional astrologers stand for. You have to use it in a grounding, supporting way. So there's 3 ways to work with astrology. And I'm going to talk about the 3 ways that I want to share today. So the first one is using the astrological days. The second one is using the full or new moon, so living with the cycles of the moon. And the third one is a little bit more difficult and it takes a little while to really understand, and it takes a little work to really work with this one. Learning your birth chart so you can work with transits, you can work with your solar return chart. But the first one I really want to talk about because I really love this one. Every day of the week is ruled by another planet. So we start with Monday. And you can guess, it is ruled by the moon. Then we have Tuesday, which is ruled by Mars. We have Wednesday, which is ruled by Mercury. And then Thursday is ruled by Jupiter. Friday is ruled by Venus. Then we have Saturday, which is ruled by Saturn. And then Sunday, obviously, is ruled by the sun. So what does that all mean? I like to plan my week according to the planets. It has given me a lot of structure. It has given me a lot of softness, to be honest. So let's start with Sunday, actually, instead of Monday. So Sunday, I make sure that I reset, but also do things that kind of give me confidence for the week, that give me playfulness and joyfulness, because the sun is all about expression and confidence. So I make sure that Sunday I don't do any work, like I try not to work in the weekends. So I think Sunday is a good day to really dedicate to your hobbies. And if you don't have hobbies, get some because they're very important. So that is Sunday. And then Monday, I really love Monday because the moon is all about being grounded, feeling safe, feeling comfortable. So you may have heard me say Monday is no rush Monday. It's a no rush day. And for me, that means that I get to reset and start slow and actually get the things done in order for me to feel safe throughout the week. And for me, that means that I don't do any calls on Monday and I do things like meal prepping, taking care of myself. I go for a walk. I go to the gym. I do all the things that nourish me because the moon is all about nourishment. And you know what they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. So when I get to take care of myself, I get to take care of my business even better. So that is Monday for me. Then on Tuesday, Mars. Okay, Mars is all about action. Now that I have nourished myself, I can actually take better care of, all the tasks that I have to do. So on Tuesday, I do all the things that I need to do, like planning my content. Monday is also for creating content because then I get to be really creative. But Tuesday is for Mars, so for action, for dedication, for doing the things that I genuinely don't really like doing that much, but I know that I have to do them because they're important. So admin, taking care of annoying emails, all the things that are on my task list. So then Wednesday, I like Wednesday because Wednesday is for socializing. Mercury is the planet of communication. So that is why on Wednesday I plan a lot of content and I spend a little bit more time on social media and I start to do my calls. So Monday, Tuesday, I don't do any calls. And then on Wednesday, I start to do my calls. So Thursday is Jupiter. But I honestly do more calls on Thursday because I truly believe that on Thursday I should be doing calls, coaching calls, meetings, because it expands my business. So everything that Jupiter touches expands. So I am trying to really do everything that I can to expand and work on my business. Then on Friday is ruled by Venus, and Venus is all about beauty and aesthetics. And I love Friday because honestly, outside of work, I make sure that I do my beauty rituals, I recharge myself, I go out for a fun drink with friends, or I plan something that has that Venus vibe. And I know maybe some people think this is silly, but I love it. It works for me and it might work for you. So then on Saturday, Saturn is about time, restrictions, rules, responsibilities. But Saturday for me is like going to the markets, getting all the groceries I need for the weekend. Saturday is for planning more content or thinking about content and like just getting inspiration and motivation. But it's not necessarily a work day, but it is a reset day for me personally. So on a personal level, it has nothing to do with my business. So I just do the things that I need to do. Saturday and Sunday are my no working days and I just reset, recharge, and just love life. You can choose if you want to work with the astrological days. Maybe just try it out for yourself. I've been really loving it because I feel like my weeks are just so much more balanced and I just feel so structured, and I think we all need these systems, whether it is in our personal life or in our business. I think it's good to have like a good balance. Another way to use astrology, and one that I will never stop talking about, is working with the moon. And obviously, if you've been following me for a while, you know I am the moon expert. I can say this because I've been living and working and teaching about the moon for over so many years. I've been, you know, sharing my knowledge every month in my moon membership for over 6 years. And I really love sharing this knowledge, and I will continue to do so because I think it is very, very important that we take the time for ourselves during a full moon or a new moon to check in. What is going on? What is going on with my emotions? Where are my thoughts going? Why do I have a headache? Why am I sleeping so bad lately? It is just a great moment to check in with yourself, to check in with your mental health, to check in with your emotions. And I think the full moon and the new moon are very practical ways to work with astrology. I think a lot of people just assume that it is super woo-woo, but to me it is just nature and just checking in with yourself. And of course you can make it woo-woo, you can make it fun. Who said woo-woo isn't fun? It is fun. It is connecting with your friends. It is connecting with spirituality. It is connecting with nature. It is connecting with the beauty of the world. You know, crystals, they're all so beautiful. I love burning candles. I love doing all those things during my full moon or new moon ritual. So that is another way. And if you want to know more about it, just follow me along. Then the last one I think is a little more difficult and kind of really have to understand how the chart works. So the chart consists of different elements like the houses, the planets, the signs, and all the aspects. And I think it takes a little bit more of a deep dive to really work with your own chart. But I really want to emphasize that you don't need to know everything because that gets really overwhelming. Just take your chart, take what resonates, and learn by the years. I think that is the best way to look at astrology, unless you want to become an astrologer. Obviously, you want to put a little bit of your foot on the gas. Those are the ways to work with astrology. I would love to know what ways you work with astrology already. Do you do your full moon rituals? Do you do your new moon ceremonies? Or are you going to really use astrology in your days? Let me know. I just want to share one thing that really bothers me, and that is when people say that astrology puts you in a box because there's only 12 signs. And I just want to say that that is completely false and such a shame, because there is only one person like you. There is only one birth chart like you, and that birth chart has all the ingredients, all the secrets, all the creativity that you hold as a person. And yes, you could say like, oh, but I have a Venus in Taurus, and oh, I have my midheaven in Aries, and there's so many people who have the exact same placements. Yes, but there's nobody with your creativity. There's nobody with your exact thoughts and feelings and experiences. So putting yourself in a box, you should never do this. You should never put yourself in a box. And I think astrology has really helped me to become more limitless, because there's so many things to explore. There's so many possibilities. There's so many things to uncover and discover. And I think to define is to limit, and that also counts for astrology and the birth chart. So every time I look at my birth chart, I see something else. I discover something else. And that is what makes astrology so magical. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I had a lot of fun recording it for you. So if you could give me a rating on Spotify or a thumbs up on YouTube, I would really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for listening, and let me know. Send me a message on Instagram if you enjoyed this episode and if you want to know more. I love sharing about astrology. I will never shut up about it if you don't stop me. So let me know if you want to learn more. See you in the next episode.